Guys, I figured everything out. So let's put this all together. First things first, everything that has to do with frost gear, we're gonna exclude all that stuff. Frost gear seems that it comes from the Omarion pages that you get from Naxx, and it clearly says on the frost patterns that you get it from Master Craftsman Omarion in Eastern Pleagland. But it seems like you have to unlock them because there's something called Handbook Quest and also the second Handbook Quest and stuff like that. And there are also Omarion pages from 1 to 30 that you have to find that seems to be linked to tailoring, leatherworking, and blacksmithing. So it looks like you have to unlock these to be able to craft frost gear. Okay, none of these frost gear, none of them needs war-torn scraps or phylactery weave, two crafting items that are added in this patch. They need frozen runes. They grab frozen runes and a lot of other stuff, but not war-torn scraps and not phylactery weave. So here's the thing: these two items, war-torn scraps, phylactery weave, they are tied only to gear that has a source, a discovery Naxx. So basically, to learn to craft some certain armor, it says the source is Naxxramas. And all the stuff that says source Naxxramas requires war-torn scraps, and some of them phylactery weave, and other stuff as well. So when we looked into these kind of weapons, then I compared a little bit what Naxx, old Naxx, classic Naxx, what that drops there. And it looks like we have some patterns between them. For example, one of the items you can craft or will be able to craft in 10.1.5 is Death's Gamble. Death's Gamble, if you look at the icon on it, it has the same icon as a shield that drops in classic Naxx. That shield is called Death's Bargain. Another item is the Plague Belcher, and that also have the same icon as one of the drops in old Naxx, which is the Plague Bearer. We can see similarities between the stuff you can craft of the weapons and the old Naxx. And also now, if we take a look at the gear, which, like I said, the source are the same, Discovery Naxx, same as the weapons. And it's only these craft materials for these things, for weapons and for the armor. When it comes to the armor, you will need either its cursed cloth, lanquished leather, scourged scales, or undeath metal. So what do these do? Well, what they can do is that you will find something called Lamented Crusade armor. To be able to restore that Lamented Crusade armor, you will need first either cursed cloth or lanquished leather or scourged scales or undeath metal to partially restore it. So restore it part 1. Cursed cloth is linked to tailoring, lanquished leather to leatherworking, scourged scales to leatherworking, undeath metal to blacksmithing. Once you have partially restored it, so you've done part 1 of it to cleanse it or to restore it, then it's to purify it. To purify it, it's based on what item you have. There's an item called Purify Belt, Purify Boots, Bracers, Chest Piece, and so on. If you look at this one, these are the ones, the Purify ones. It says, purify the belt with 70 phylactery weave and 10 righteous orbs to acquire a highly coveted belt for your class. So you will get the last cleansing with this. But, there is a but. If you have restored the first time with cursed cloth, then the final purification can be done by a mage or a priest. If you use the lanquished leather, then the final purification can be done by a druid or rogue. If you use the scourged scales, then the final purification is done by hunter or chamois. If you use the undeath metal, the final purification is done by paladin or warrior. So, source Discovery Naxx, same as these patterns where you craft weapons. We see that there's a link between these patterns and the weapons you get from old Naxx. Also, there are no new races that came out after Classic. We have classes. Mage, Priest, Warlock, Druid, Rogue, Hunter, Chamois, Paladin, Warrior. The same classes that we have in Classic WoW. So that means that is linked to armor that you could only get for those classes from back in the days. So what will this turn into? Well, since the weapons turned into weapons from old Naxx, I think that these armors will turn into Naxx Tier 3. If we take a look at what the Tier 3 are, head, shoulder, chest, wrist, hands, waist, legs, feet. That's 8 pieces, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces. Head is there, shoulder is there, chest is there, wrist is there, hands is there, waist is there, legs is there, feet is there. So exact the amount and exact those pieces that has to do with the tier 3 are the ones. So this Purify says purified gauntlets with 140 phylactery weave and 10 righteous orbs to acquire highly coveted gloves for your class. Coveted means greatly desired. Greatly desired gloves for your class. And it says also your class. Don't forget that. So now that we know all this, how to learn crafting tier 3 armor and old Naxxramas weapons. The only thing I think of, since the frost gear that you will be able to craft comes from Omarion pages and Master Craftsman Omarion, it is only one thing left that we have seen on the PTR. That is the archived crafting techniques. Reveal a random ancient recipe from Lordaeron and its nearby regions. So yeah, Lordaeron is northernmost subcontinent of the Eastern Kingdom. Where is Nax? I'm not talking about the new Nax, I'm talking about the old Nax, because this is old stuff now. Old Nax is, or was, in the northernmost subcontinent of the Eastern Kingdom. And we have talked about how it looks like we will be able to get archived crafting techniques. And there we have some theories about how we can get that. According to this theory, you will be able to craft tier 3 armor and weapons from Old Nax in 10.1.5.